From Hoike Television Studios in Lihue, Hawaii, it's Kauai Theater This Month. And now, your host, Larry Richardson.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Kauai Theater This Month, the show where we talk about what's happening in the performing arts community here on Kauai. I'm your host, Larry Richardson. We've got an exciting show for you tonight. Our first guest is the director of Kauai Community Player's latest production, She Kills Monsters, opening February 21st. Please welcome Jenna Sadusky. All right, please have a seat. Jenna, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Larry.
We're really excited about it. So, first tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to the theater community on Kauai.
Well, I've been doing theater a long time. I have my degree in theater from back when I lived in California, Sacramento, California. And I've been here for about 3.5 years now. The first show I did here was actually Little Shop of Horrors.
I remember that.
That played in January of 2017. So it's been a whole 3 years since I've been involved in a show, and I'm very, very excited.
Yes, I'm excited too. Well, tell us about the show. What's it called? What's it about?
All right, so the show is called She Kills Monsters, and there's a lot of women killing monsters in that show, so the title does not lie. It is about two sisters. The older sister finds a Dungeons and Dragons adventure that was written out in a book by her sister, who you find out in the beginning of the play has passed away tragically. So in cleaning up her sister's room, she just stumbles upon this book and she decides, I want to play this adventure that my sister wrote. And so we get to watch her play out this adventure in which, spoiler alert, her sister is a character. So we get to see her sister as well in the show. And it's about the two of them, or at least the older sister, Agnes, who's our main character, learning about her sister in a way that she would never have been able to do if she had not found this.
I see. And monsters is in the title, so do we see monsters?
Oh, yeah.
And there's battle scenes and stuff like that?
Absolutely. We have swords, we have shields, we have magic, we have axes, we have staves, we have all of the major medieval weaponry categories checked.
Awesome, awesome. Well, that sounds great. What's your favorite thing about this show?
Oh, wow. There are so many amazing things about this show. It's hard to pick just one thing that I love the most about this show, but I'd have to say the style that it's written in. It's very energetic and fun and doesn't take itself too seriously. There's campy moments and just a lot of humor throughout. Irreverent humor, I would say, throughout, which is maybe a little more my kind of humor, I'd say.
So would you say it's a drama with comedic moments?
I'd say, that's a good question. I'd say it's more of a comedy with some dramatic moments. It's very much an adventure romp comedy through the dungeons.
Yeah, it sounds like something where people are going to laugh and they're going to think a little too, yeah?
That as well, yeah, they get a bit of both worlds there.
Yeah, that's my kind of play, I like that. What are some of the challenges that you faced putting this show on?
I'd have to say the biggest challenge would be actually creating these monsters and bringing them to life. We actually are going to have a 5-headed dragon in this play.
Awesome.
That our heroine has to fight in order to complete this quest.
Okay.
So that is a challenge, bringing something that's so much larger than life onto the stage with you, which is life happening in front of you. And you know, honestly, all the other monsters too. Yeah. It is challenging to kind of come up with those costumes and make it sort of realistic and staying true to the Dungeons and Dragons lore. Yes. Which I am very much stoked that I get to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, who's in it?
Oh gosh, so you know, a lot of newbies actually in this play. Our main heroine, Agnes, is going to be played by Lex Moore. This is actually her first show.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Ever.
Yeah.
But she really loves Dungeons and Dragons. So she's swimming into somewhat unknown waters, but also somewhat safe waters. She's one of the people that helps us to know when we're doing something right and doing justice to Dungeons and Dragons and when we're not. And then her husband, Colton, who you may have seen in other shows. Some other favorites that you might have seen, Avery Soto has been in a few things. Trinity Kerwin, Vita Parker will be playing our Tilly, who is the sister who has passed away. And then a couple of newbies that I'm really excited for you all to get to see. We have James and Tiny, who I both recruited from the game store in Lihue.
Yeah, I met them just the other day. They're really nice guys, and they seem really excited to be in a show.
Right?
So,
this is them turning over a new leaf as well.
yeah, that's good. I'm excited. Now, I just met this lady the other day, and she was telling me, oh, it's always the same people in those shows, and I was like, I don't think so. So, are you excited working with new people?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. As an actor, sometimes you can get a little set in your ways as you develop your craft and your practice over a certain number of years. So it is pretty fun getting to work with some actors that I can sort of help mold and shape how they are going to be doing theater from here on out.
And what do you think? Did I already ask you this? What made you want to direct this show? What made you just say this is the one I'm going to pitch?
I think that it was because this play kind of came to me. It wasn't necessarily a play that I sought out. So I thought to myself, maybe this is one that I should really try to do. Because I found this play in a bookshop in New York when I was there about 4 years ago on vacation. And I was actually looking for a different one of this playwright's shows. His name's Ki Wen. And I was looking for a play that he wrote called Alice in Slasherland. Also a really fun play. But he's not a super well-known playwright, so they only had one of his shows there. And the book that I found on the shelf was She Kills Monsters. So I ended up reading it and really liking it. And then when it came time to do proposals, I remembered back those, it was 3 years ago then, because I did the proposal in 2019. I thought back to that time and said, maybe this play came to me then for a reason. Maybe I'm supposed to do it. So I proposed it actually along with 2 other shows, and this was the show that was chosen. So it must have been the one that I needed.
Awesome. Well, when does the show open?
So it's going to be on February 21st. That's a Friday. And then after that, we're going to have our nice fun party. I think we still maybe have some availability left on that day, but who knows? It's a fun night.
Yeah, you're talking about ticket sales, yeah?
Yeah, I'm not sure if we still have availability for that.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. But if not, there's other shows. So it's going to run for a month, opening February 21st. It's going to run for a month with shows on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday matinees, right?
Yeah. So it's going to be Thursday through Saturday at 7, and it's going to be Sunday at 4. And that's going to be until March 8th.
Okay, and where could people go if they wanted to find out more information about this production?
Oh, if people want to find out more information, they could go to the Kauai Community Players website. I believe it's kauaicommunityplayers.org for more information.
Okay, and one last question. Is there anything that you didn't get a chance to say or that you really want to share with us about this show that our viewers could appreciate or that you really want to get out there? Am I putting you on the spot? I'm sorry.
I honestly don't know if I can stress to the audience enough how much of a rocking good time this show is. It just has so much going on and just surprises you in like the most crazy of moments. I think it's one of those shows that's really going to leave you on the edge of your seat.
Okay, well that sounds exciting. I'm really looking forward to that. And so thanks a lot for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. So we're going to move on now. Our next guest is the director of WIT's latest production. It's called 432 Gun, and it's opening February 28th, so please help us welcome Nell Foster. Hey, Nell. Welcome. Please have a seat. All right. So, how are you?
Great.
Great. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Is this
fun.
Yeah, is this anything like what you thought when I told you about it?
Oh, I always know I can expect a good time when I'm around you, Larry.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So, first, tell us a little bit about yourself and your theater background.
Well, I've been here in Kauai almost 12 years now. I was doing community theater and university theater, tiny bit of professional theater back in Arizona and Ohio. I actually met my husband when he was teaching at Ohio State. He was head of a theater department there, and I auditioned and entered into the program at Ohio State. So we moved to Arizona, and I was busy with work, but always his backup because he ran a theater department at a college there. So I love to act, I love to direct, I love to design sets. I kept it a secret here for almost 8 years that I do costuming and can sew, but that's not at the top of my list, so I kind of kept it a little secret for a while. But I just love everything about theater. I just think it's great.
Yeah. Well, me too. Well, tell us what's the show's called 432 Gun, and it's with Wit. Tell us what's the show about.
Well, the full title is actually 4 actors, 3 chairs, 2 throw pillows, and a gun. And it is written by a local playwright who just happens to be a board member of WIT, Mr. Frank Riley. And it's been very interesting working with a script that's never been published or produced before, because we're making all types of adjustments to this script, but still trying to honor the playwright's intention. So if we have to make cuts, we don't want to change the storyline. If we need to adjust some things, we get his input on those things.
Right. Okay.
What's interesting about this script is that it's actually advertised as minimalist theater with maximum enjoyment. So minimalist actually means simple set, simple props, simple or no costuming, and still able to keep the audience engaged. And our intention with this show is to allow the audience to use their imagination. Sometimes we don't give our audiences enough credit to be able, it's kind of like reading a book, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll see a movie and it's never as good as the book, because in the book you imagine all those things that are going on. Yeah.
Awesome. So what's the plot or whatever?
The plot. Well, it's an interesting plot. We have 4 actors who have their own characteristics. And they're doing 4 different vignettes, so they have to put on the costume of a different actor in these scenes. But there is a relationship between these 4 actors that kind of gets interwoven into the vignettes themselves.
I see. So what you've got is 4 actors who are playing the part of actors who are acting in these different 4 or 5 vignettes?
Oh, it's 5 vignettes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So really it's like 6 roles in one.
Exactly. So my job as the director is to say, okay, this is your major character, and there's certain times to be that character, but we need to change that character now to be someone else, right?
So it's clearly defined, like the different characters.
Yeah. It's an actor's dream, really. I mean, gosh, it's like not getting put into a pigeonhole. It's like, well, you're this and you can be this, but wow, now you get to be this person. So it's really fun.
So 4 actors, tell us about the 4 actors. And full disclosure, I'm in the show.
You are.
So I'm one of the, so there's 3 other actors. Tell us about them.
Well, we have Bard Widmer, who has amazing stage presence, and we're very fortunate to have him. We also have Larry Richardson, who has amazing stage presence and comedic performance, just amazing with that stuff. We have Raina Shafter. Now, Raina's older sister was actually in Little Shop of Horrors with Jenna. I was the assistant to the director and the stage manager for that show. So we've worked together, and it was a good time.
It was.
And Raina, believe it or not, the role she's doing was originally written for someone in their mid-20s. And we ended up casting Raina, who is 14. So we had the great opportunity to work with the playwright to make adjustments to the script to fit her age. So that's one of the perks of working with an original script, right? And then we have Caitlin Dumaine. Caitlin has never been in a play before. And she's great. She has some really good instincts, and it's exciting for me to be able to teach those things. Yeah,
she's doing really well. Well, that's awesome. What's a typical rehearsal like?
Typical rehearsal, oh gosh. Well, everybody is supposed to be off book tomorrow, which means they're not allowed to use their scripts anymore. Rehearse blocking, and it's interesting because in this show, the actors do all the scene changes as their original characters. So we have dialogue during those scene changes, and it just makes it so real, you know? So we go through a rehearsal, and I stop people and tell them, oh, well, let's try it some way different. And everybody's so receptive to the direction. It's really, for me, it's been fun. I hope I don't upset anybody too much. And what is my goal as a director? It's to make each actor give a performance that feels comfortable to them, relays the message. But if there's another director out in the audience watching saying, I never knew they could do that. I always thought they did this. But they're capable of way more than perhaps being typecast in something.
Awesome. So what made you want to direct this show specifically?
Well, I'm the artistic director and the vice president of WIT. And part of our mission is to bring in new playwrights, new talent, to do things that are exploratory, basically. We really want to broaden the field here. So we're bringing in some new things, as long as with some traditional things. So I thought it would be a great opportunity for me to work closely with a playwright, and we're sort of developing these things together. He's learning things to change in the script to make them more accessible to the actor. I'm learning how to evaluate a script more closely to see, is it realistic to be able to do that? And if you're doing a piece that's already published, you can't mess with that script, right? So if I don't think I can make it work, then it's like, well, I can't change it. So let's look for something that makes sense.
So you mentioned WIT. Tell us about WIT so our viewers know what WIT is.
WIT is a nonprofit that was formed almost 20 years ago as Women in Theater. We have 2 men on our board of directors, and in this current political climate, we really don't want anything to be divisive. So we are transforming to WIT. We have recently moved from our old space in Kukui Grove to a new space next to Deli and Bread down near Macy's. So it's exciting. We have a new theater. We have a new unproduced play. We have new people acting with WIT. It's just, that's us.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Now, when does the show open?
We open on the 28th of February. We will only be running for 2 weekends with this show. So if people need more information about the show, what it's about, and so on and so forth, they can go to They can go to witkauai.org.
witkauai.org. Okay, for more information. Well, that's great. Now, is there anything that I didn't ask you or that you wanted to share with our viewers about the show or about WIT or about yourself?
Well, I talk about minimalist theater, but we're using some really fun technical things to really keep this show lively and moving. But it's a fast-paced, lots of humor, lots of irreverent humor as well, and it'll just be a really nice evening. So we hope that people can get out and enjoy themselves.
That would be great. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that's all we have for you tonight. We'd like to thank you for watching and remind you to tune in next time to Kauai Theater This Month, and we'll look for you in the theater, and please come say hello. We're looking forward to seeing everybody in the theater. So, good night, everybody.